Hello and welcome to a very special Normal Ireland live from Liverpool. Now, some of you are thinking, where am I? What is this place? Well, it's a beautiful studio working in partnership with your show. Now, for some of you, you've been watching me all day from 12 p.m. and others, you've just tuned in. We are providing an alternative to the Labour Liverpool Party conference, and an alternative to the corporate media. Now, for the next hour, we will be doing our special Normal Ireland Live. We've got two incredible guests with us. We've got Naomi Winborn-Idrissi and Alexei Sale we'll be talking to very soon. Before we go to them, though, let's look at the bulletins and the policy headlines of today. We've got Labour bringing back workfare, Labour calling reforms immigration policy racist, and then copying it. And Rachel Reeves rules out wealth tax, a tax on national insurance and income tax. Now, I think Naomi is with me now. Naomi, how are you doing?
Great, thank you. I have interrupted another meeting in order to join you, so I hope you appreciate the sacrifice. It's nice to be here. It's nice to be with Alexei and you as well. So yeah, I'm sort of sorry I'm not in Liverpool, but then I could hardly bear to be on the fringes of Labour Party conference after what they've put us through over last year. We're now Jewish Voice for Liberation.
Quite
actually.
Right.
Yeah, as of yesterday, we had a big members meeting and we debated the question. And most people, nearly everybody, agreed that having Labour in our name had become a bit of a burden, you know. So we're nearly all been thrown out anyway, including me personally.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got loads of people leaving, loads of people being thrown out. It's an empty, vacuous party. Thank you so much for giving me your time today, though. It's very much appreciated. I believe Alexei is here with us too. Is that correct? How are we?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
Much appreciated, both of you. Two firebrands to come on the show today.
The camera needs a clean.
You look fantastic.
Yeah, a bit fuzzy, actually, a bit fuzzy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the first policy. Essentially, we've got the Labour Party bringing back workfare. I'm going to read out a tweet that says, Rachel Reeves has announced that every young person who has been on universal credit for 18 months without earning or learning will soon be offered a guaranteed paid work placement. Those that refuse the offer will lose their benefits. Naomi, this is just cruel workfare policy, isn't it?
I couldn't believe it. I heard it on the radio. And I thought, you know, I'd heard people being interviewed from Liverpool and saying things like, I don't know what's happened to Labour. It's not really the party of working people anymore, is it? It's not the way I was in my early days. And you just can't believe that a Labour government is imposing these kind of conditions. But it's of a piece with all their other policies. And I'd like to mention, just in case we miss it later on, I thought most sort of iconic moment so far today for me was Rachel Reeves being heckled by somebody denouncing the genocide in Gaza and trotting out that old line about, we are a party of government, not a party of protest. And I thought, yeah, so this is the sort of thing that you've just mentioned, that being a party of government means, apparently. Definitely not a party of protest because, well, as we know, people are being arrested in their dozens, well, hundreds, for protesting about the genocide. So, yeah, I don't know. It's depressing, but it just goes to show we need something new in British politics, doesn't it?
Oh, quite right. Yeah, I completely agree. Alexei, I mean, the Labour Party was founded by socialists and trade unionists, the Party of Labour, the workers, and now we've got Rachel Reeves going after people on benefits again. I mean, this is nothing new for the Labour Party. You know, a brief window between 2015 and 2019, maybe not so, but now we've got policies coming out where they're punishing the most vulnerable in society. What do you make of that?
Well, you know, I agree with, you know, Lenin said, you know, in 1923 or something, that though the membership of the Labour Party is working class, it is run by the bourgeoisie, and the worst kind of bourgeoisie at that. And I just think that the Labour Party, I think, has always been, I think the point of the Labour Party is to take working class, take activists and waste their time and to enact, enact the, I suppose, the wishes. It used to be that you thought they were kind of the party of the kindly plutocrat rather than the grind in the faces of the poor plutocrat. But they're pretty much the same now. So I think the Labour Party has always been. I mean, this is just you're just seeing it. You're just seeing the kind of ultimate version of it, really. And just that point that just the people on the right of the Labour Party are just the worst people I've ever met in my life. They're just awful beyond belief, really.
Yeah.
So it's not really surprising that they're doing this.
Not surprising. Could I add to what Alexis just said? Because he's brought us up, to the reality, really. If you get the chance, have a look at Ken Loach's films that he made for TV back in the 70s. They were called Days of Hope, 3 films about the experience of working class in the First World War, after the First World War, and then a bit later on. Days of Hope is the most miserable story that I've ever seen. But it's just a catalogue of betrayal by the trade union leaderships and then by the young Labour Party. And it shows how people got sucked into playing this role of trying to tinker around the edges of capitalism. And inevitably you end up doing what Alexi was just alluding to. You just end up being ruled by people who have a sort of slightly more friendly face than your arch capitalists, but serve the same interests in the end. I kind of feel those of us who plunged into Labour when Jeremy took over thinking we were going to change the world and shift the balance of power and wealth. Like Alexi said, we were wasting our time, really, weren't we? So, yeah.
I suppose we're in a situation now where it's not even the fact that Labour are the kind face of capitalism. They're not even pretending anymore. They're moving to the right on maybe the Conservatives on some things. I did actually want to talk about another policy, which is immigration. Of course, that's something that gets spoken about a lot. And I find it very interesting, right? Because we had Reform attack those on indefinite leave to remain. We had the Labour Party come out and say, that's a racist policy. And now they're doing the same thing. I mean, this is just a few things they want to do. They want to make migrants prove that they're contributing to society. That's learning English at a high standard. Of course, that is subjective to many people. Clean criminal record and volunteer in community. Naomi, that's like a 2-tier society. I mean, how can Labour attack Reform and then ape their policy? This seems to be a theme from Labour.
Well, they've taken a decision. They've showed us very clearly whose side they're on in the class war, and it's not our side. So naturally, their only way of tackling a threat from the right is to shift further right in the vain hope of capturing back some of the votes that would otherwise go to Reform. And as many people have pointed out, if people want a racist anti-immigration party, they'll go to the real McCoy, won't they? They won't go to a party which is aping those politics. And I find the whole tenor of discussion about this issue from Labour and from commentators generally, from the media, from BBC and others, absolutely terrifying, because nobody's looking at the reasons why people want to come here. What has British foreign policy done to the world over decades? Why are people suffering in places that are war-torn or poverty-stricken or devastated by climate change and so on? Nobody talks about that, do they? It's only these brown people are a problem. What can we do to keep them out? And you're quite right in the way you enumerate the sort of punitive nature of the policies they're suggesting. It's terribly divisive and it's frightening. I live in Kent, Dover, just down the road, where you can actually see France from just down the road from my house. And that's where the small boats come over. And there's a really strong right-wing anti-immigrant movement here. Very difficult. If we rely on Labour to fight that, we're screwed, aren't we, really?
Alexi, I mean, we anticipated the right would drift under the Labour Party when Jeremy Corbyn stepped down, Keir Starmer took over. Are you surprised at how right-wing he's gone? I expected him to move sharply to the right, but some things I'm even quite surprised. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, I mean, I hadn't really thought it through what he was going to do, but this policy of aping reform, I don't know whether it's just stupidity, and he is obviously clearly him and the people around him are pretty stupid. Or whether they I mean, I don't know if they live in a kind of self-confirming bubble, and so they haven't seen, the history of all centrist parties, social democratic parties in Europe that have tried to imitate the far right have had exactly the same result. So I don't know whether they're just kind of whether he was, I mean, I think he's either very close to the security services, Starmer, or as an agent, and I think his role was perhaps to destroy the Labour Party forever, because it seems like that's what him and the people around him are going to do, really, because this won't work on any terms, will it? It won't work. It won't work. It won't lure right-wing voters back from reform, and it won't work on any level. So it just seems utterly kind of stupid, really. So the only explanation I can see is that it'll just to destroy the Labour Party completely, really.
I mean, I want to talk about the Labour right in a second, but actually to pick up on what you said, Alexei, you said the Labour right, but I almost think it's no longer the Labour right, it's just the Labour Party, because anyone vaguely progressive has been kicked out, bar actually a handful of left Labour MPs, which, I mean, I'll ask you both actually, in both your estimation, why are some of the Labour left MPs staying? Why won't they just go? They're not respected or listened to.
It's not just MPs, and there is a handful who you could still call left-wing and then say great stuff from time to time. Clive Lewis, Richard Bergen, John McDonnell, Apsana Begum, Diane Abbott. Oh, of course, she's suspended. But the whole party has adopted this position, and I have good friends who are still in the Labour Party and are still convinced that if they fight hard enough, bless them, they will somehow wrest it back to restore this sort of illusory past when it genuinely did represent the working class. So that's the conviction. Do you know what? Jeremy Corbyn would not have left the Labour Party if he hadn't been forced to. It's like an umbilical cord. It's been his life, and it is still the life project, as it were, of lots and lots of people. I don't know if you agree, Alexei.
Yes, absolutely. I think that, several things. I remember a while ago, I heard Steve Rotherham, the Merseyside Metro Mayor, or whatever he is, say, for him, the Labour Party is his football team. He will always be loyal to the Labour Party but it's not a football team. It's an organisation dedicated to making the world much worse by, aiding and abetting a genocide and bringing in more and more stricter neoliberal policies and handing all our personal data to Palantir. That's not a Labour Party. That's not a football team. That's an evil evil empire. It's like saying, I'm sticking with Darth Vader. He's the guy for me. But also, I suppose the other thing is the people, those friends that you describe. It's what's it called? I think the sunk cost fallacy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that the people have given their life, like they say about HS2. Well, we've spent 700 billion on it now. We might as well carry it on because we've sunk all this cost into it. And I think the same is true of people in the Labour Party, that they've spent their lives, campaigning for this organisation, and they've wasted their time, really. So, I mean, I suppose they can't, human beings, they have to lie to themselves and tell them that there's something, they're going to get something out of it. But really, it's like, some failed infrastructure project. It's failed, and they just need to pull the plug on it, really.
Yeah.
I think by the way, Naomi, I agree. I don't think Jeremy would have left. Labour was in his blood, but he kind of had to. That's definitely true. And also, Alexei, it is a sunk cost fallacy, because I think when people see politics as if it's their home. And it's understandable, I can see the emotional connection. But I do think that people are using their time inside a party that quite literally despises them. Whereas there are outside forces. I mean, we're looking at the Green Party, your party conference happening soon. It remains to be seen what's going to happen. But it seems to me now that the Labour Party is actually the gatekeeper of the left, and it's stopping probably progress. Maybe the Labour Party needs to completely die so these other left-wing movements can take its place.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's. I mean, that's its. As I say, I think that's its function is to stop left-wing process. I think that progress. I think that's always been its function. It's just revealing itself in all its malevolent glory now. I think.
Yeah, and we probably are seeing the death throes of the Labour Party as a major political institution in this country. What's going to come out of it, who knows? I mean, Zach Polansky's definitely gaining a hell of a lot of members for Greens by being far to the left of Starmer, or speaking far to the left of Starmer. And we have got Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana and a whole load of very enthusiastic activists all over the country trying to build something entirely new. Whether it's going to work or not, I hope so. I'm trying, I'm one of those involved trying to make it happen. We need it. We need it. It's a historic moment. Ken Loach keeps saying, if we miss this, this we will take responsibility for a historic defeat for the left.
Another policy that came out of the Labour Party conference was no tax rises because, of course, Rachel Reeves has stuck to her fiscal rules and, is talking about this black hole that needs to be plugged, but she's saying that she does want to increase income tax, VAT, and definitely won't do a wealth tax. Alexei, I mean, do you think that Reeves ruling out a wealth tax has something to do with the fact that they received millions of pounds from Quadrature Capital? This is money from the oil industry, healthcare industry, the arms industry. Do you think it might be because they don't want to piss off their donors?
I think that's very likely. It's also George Monbiot wrote a very good article in The Guardian, I think last week or the week before, that he said the only people who she consulted with about her fiscal policy were all these dark money, all these think tanks, which apparently group themselves in Tufton Street, around the corner from the Houses of Parliament. And she only consulted with, and they give themselves, they should give themselves, they give themselves names like the, Institute for Fiscal Responsibility, whereas they should just call themselves, they were being honest, the Institute for Bloated Capitalists, or the Institute for stealing even more money from the state than we do now. And so the only people that she consulted with were these think tanks that don't refuse to reveal what their finances, who pays for them, essentially. And so, yeah, she's taking advice from those people because I suppose ideologically she's sympathetic to them. And also, yeah, they've taken massive amounts of money from the arms industry and, venture capital. And so it's not just that they don't want to piss. It's just, not wanting to piss them off kind of underplays it. They're doing their bidding. These are the people who tell the Labour Party, the Labour government, what to do. It's not that they don't want to piss them off. It's rather that they're essentially being told what to do by these people.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate to say that. Because pissing off kind of says, oh, they're reluctant. But actually, this is the capital B party, not the Labour Party. I want to part policy now because I want to talk about the so-called high-quality Labour MPs. Extremely high quality, right? Remember Keir Starmer. We actually have a video of Torsten Bell attacking Ed Davey at conference. Let's take a look at that video and then we can react.
What Britain needs to tackle Farage is a vision. And the vision they need is not a fat bloke in a wetsuit, which is what the Lib Dems have got to offer Britain in the 21st century.
If you're going to attack someone, have some kind of personality yourself. These are the kind of briefcase Labour MPs we've got in the image of Keir Starmer and Morgan McSweeney. And he has the temerity to attack Ed Davey like that? I mean, again, I'm not Ed Davey's biggest fan. I'm sure he can handle himself. But what does it say to you that, again, we've parked policy. What does it say to you about the Labour right? I know both of you will have opinions on this. Alex, I'll come to you first. What's your opinion on Torsten and the rest of the Blairite cabal?
Yeah. I mean, I was listening to last week. You know, I think it was the Today programme last week, and it was when Andy Burnham was obviously making his initial moves, and there was an Labour MP, a right-wing Labour MP, and I didn't know who it was, and Sarah Montague was laughing and joking with this right-wing MP who was slagging off kind of Andy Burnham, you know. And then when she kind of said goodbye to him, she said it was Neil Coyle. Neil Coyle, you know. I mean, somebody who, you know, used to send Jeremy Corbyn drunken texts in the, you know, inflammatory, insulting texts in the middle of the night when Jeremy was leader, and then was suspended from the Labour Party for racially abusing a Chinese journalist in a bar in the House of Commons. And then when his suspension was up, he was welcomed with open arms by Starmer, welcome back. Whereas people like Naomi and all the decent people who have just sometimes, you know, signed a letter support or a petition for an organization before it was banned, and they have been permanently expelled from the Labour Party, I mean, people who are protesting against the genocide, and they are, for that crime, they are permanently banned from the Labour Party, but they welcome back a bully like Neil Coyle. Yeah, and I just think that speaks to a quality of a lot of that as long as you are ideologically right wing, then, you know, they'll have you back. So, yeah. So there's that type. There's also, I mean, it's weird. I mean, because I've done a lot of pickets and stuff, I don't spend much time in Westminster, but it's weird that people, when you stand outside Parliament, these young kind of gits go past, and they wear these kind of suits, which I think you can only get from like one shop in Westminster or something. And they're like people that you don't see in any other part of Britain apart from the environs of Westminster. And a lot of them are these young gits who are wannabe MPs and just empty, vacuous, you know. I mean, nothing but ambition, really, and just you know, that's your Labour Party candidate.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, if you look at the quality of individuals, it is very easy and very tempting to make fun of them. But there's a serious point here, isn't it? Why are they like that? Because of the beliefs that they have, and they believe that you can't have sensible taxation policies, you can't have decent welfare policies, because you've got to keep growing the capitalist economy. And if you think about that, growing means more extraction from the planet. It means more exploitation. It means maximizing profits all the time. And it's just destroying the planet, destroying society, destroying communities. And they just trot out this mantra all the time, don't they? I mean, there are innovative ways of looking at the economy. I'm not an expert, but you may have heard of the degrowth movement, for example, donut economics, which is a completely different way of looking at how society produces things of value and how you measure what that value is and who it's good for and who gains from it, as opposed to the present system where it's just all down to the bottom line. So that's why they are, because they've bought into that totally and they won't see any challenge to it. Growth, whatever.
Of course, none of them have ever had a proper job, you know. I mean, the ranks of the parliamentarians in the 30s or whatever were drawn from sea captains and lion tamers and but now, I mean, they all work. None of them work. They start in Westminster, don't they? Work as a SPAD or whatever. Then maybe they'll go for one of these think tanks for a little bit, and then they'll snivel their way into a safe parliamentary seat. But none of them have got experience of the world. You know, none of them have ever of overwork down a mine, like me.
I've got.
I did dig part of the Jubilee line. I did. If you go
You've done more
south,
than
if you
most
go
Labour
south
MPs
from
then.
Green Park, I dug the first 4 foot of the Jubilee line, so
Hey.
I've got experience,
There you
me.
go. You'd be better placed to be in the shadow cabinet or the cabinet then than
Yeah,
Labour MPs.
absolutely. Yeah,
I'd vote for
I've
you.
slaved underground.
I've got 2 more videos actually to show. This is of Steve Reed.
Right.
Steve Reed's a rising star apparently. This is him signing "Build Baby Build" red hats, but it looks like MAGA. Let's roll the VT. His signature. I can't believe there's so many people who want it. But then we have another video, and it's on Steve Reed's Twitter, and he's doing a sort of promo video of this clothing. Is this a new clothing line he's releasing? Because I won't be buying. Let's take a look at the second VT. Build, baby,
You go
build.
first, Alexi.
Build,
I
baby,
mean, that is
build.
shit on so many different levels, isn't it? I mean, it's a, you know, you can teach kind of media studies about the shittiness, multiple kind of semiotics of stupidity in that video. The crappy kind of camera work, the funky off the shelf, groovy music, and the idiotic. It's that man's stupid freaking face. And also the idea that you should imitate Trump and also build, baby, build is just, it's multiply crap.
Naomi, do you want to come on in this one?
I'm sorry. Look, when a friend of mine posted that, the first thing that you showed us there, of the signing of the hat, and said, who on their right mind is going to join a long queue to get a hat signed?
But you
by
saw
Steve
some of them, didn't you?
Reed?
You saw some of the sniveling little kids.
Oh my goodness. And the thought of that being a promotional video for Labour, I mean, that's really going to impress your sort of disadvantaged ex-miners in the north, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're going to flock to Labour when they see that. I mean, good heavens.
I mean, look, it's the Build Baby Build is a riff off of the Drill Baby Drill, and obviously we can
Yeah.
we can make fun of it as we are because it's very funny. But I think there's a serious question here, and as you've obviously alluded to, it's very MAGA coding. Why are Labour figures not just like pivoting to the right, but they're trying to show the world, oh yeah, look, we're just like Trump now. We're really right wing. What is this? What is this move from these people? Why are they trying to look like Trump?
God.
Because they're
Can you tell
idiots.
us?
That's true.
Basically. I mean, it's just, I would say it's the multiple levels of kind of idiocy in that, in that man's poonim, as we say in Yiddish. It's just, I mean, it's a barometer, I think, of their staggering. I mean, obviously politically, it's it's vapid, but it's also a barometer of their staggering kind of lack of originality. That it doesn't even work. It's not going to seduce some MAGA fan. It's not going to seduce anybody really. So I mean, they're crap at their job, really.
It's like they're aping reform on the one hand, and they seem to be, this is aping Trump as well. Is it meant to be ironic? I don't know. doesn't work if it is meant to be
I
ironic.
don't know if they're smart enough for it to be ironic, you know. But I think it speaks to this sort of Americanization of politics. We had the 150,000 Tommy Robinson March, and there were people using American lines. Obviously, I know Elon Musk isn't American, but he's very much in Trump's pocket, or vice versa. So it feels like there's this Americanized politics, and Labour are happily jumping into that, which I actually think on a serious level is kind of dangerous. I don't know if you agree with that. Though.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, it was interesting, wasn't it, that Charlie Kirk, somebody
Yeah.
nobody had ever heard of in Britain, was the lead item on the news' assassination, really. And so it is. You feel that the media is either consciously or unconsciously, deliberately trying to really Trumpify Britain, and some of them are just because they think it makes a good story. You know, it's got you know, kind of you know, it's exciting to make the lead about Charlie Kirk, but it's and it's maybe they think they're being outward looking. I mean, the media in some ways they're being internationalist by featuring the assassination of somebody nobody in Britain has heard of as the number one item. But I think it's more sinister than that. At the best, it's kind of stupidity and just following the crowd. At worst, it's a deliberate policy by the media in this country to move our debate onto Trump's ground. And I think it's working as well, really.
You've made me think there, Alexei. You know, we talk about Corbyn being such a threat to the establishment because of his sort of anti-NATO, anti-Atlanticism. Now we're getting the complete reverse of that. We are getting Atlanticism thrust down our throats, aren't we? It's kind of binding. We are part of that North Atlantic Alliance and nothing's going to break it. And we will take on board anything that they throw at us.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been a kind of obviously cultural imperialism in terms of Hollywood and you know, our, you know, that we absorb, you know, American product, music and films and the rest. But to actually this kind of granular kind of study of their politics as if it's our politics seems really to be quite sinister, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet it is because I mean something about like Jeremy is he's very European, you know, those. Well, I mean, you shouldn't downplay the socialism that there was in the United States, but I mean, you know, Jeremy was very British. You know, there's a lot of things about him were very British, really. You know, it was about our tolerant, you know, our society, the best of us, really, the best of tolerance and kindness and decency, and to be vaunting, you know, American hate preachers like Charlie Kirk, you know, seems quite a sinister move, really, you know.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, I want to show one final image because there are still people out there, you know, less and less by the day, that are going to vote for the Labour Party. They still tell us that it was to keep out the Conservatives, now it's to keep out reform. But this next image, if we bring it up on screen now, is really interesting. So this is a question to Shabana Mahmood. Who are your political heroes? Answer, I have two women who I look up to their strength and their steel, and that's Benazir Bhutto and Margaret Thatcher. Now that is a cabinet member saying that Margaret Thatcher is a hero. Now, of course, Margaret Thatcher's greatest achievement was New Labour and Tony Blair. So I guess there's a nice little back and forth there, right? The feeling's mutual. But this just goes to show the people at the top of government look at Thatcher as their heroes. Surely Labour and Labourism should be anything but an antithesis, antithetical to Thatcherism. Naomi, what do you make of that?
I'm horrified by that statement, I really am. Now, you've rightly pointed out the continuity between Thatcher and Blair's New Labour, and now we're seeing that developed, 100-fold. I mean, we've gone so far in that direction now. But yeah, the idea that a female Labour politician could think it appropriate to name Margaret Thatcher as one of her heroes is extraordinary. I mean, I suppose there are some characteristics of the woman as an individual that you might find praiseworthy in some context or another. I mean, Hitler apparently liked kittens and small children, but it doesn't really absolve him for what else he was responsible for. I mean, a politician should look at somebody in terms of what they achieved politically and what they stood for politically. So I find that very disturbing indeed.
I heard flights to The Hague were rather cheap these days. So maybe
the other, I mean, like I just said on my radio show, Margaret Thatcher, whose best quality perhaps is that she's dead. But the thing is that Shabana Mahmood doesn't even really rate Margaret Thatcher. She's only saying, or maybe she's only saying that because she thinks it'll play with some fictitious constituents. She's only saying it because she thinks it's the right thing to say. She'd say Pol Pot if she thought that would work with somebody, or I mean, it's just some dumbass thing that she's chosen to say because she's a second-rate idiot.
I mean, that is a statement and a half. I don't think I top it. I agree. That was perfect. I just want to say to both of you, thank you so much for joining me today. To everyone watching at home, thank you for tuning in. Again, this has been a 9-hour stream. We've been covering the Labour Party conference. We're taking on the corporate media, because if you watch them, right, they're just going to butter them up. Their friends, the corporate journalists, are the client journalists, shall we say. So I want to thank everyone who tuned in. We're going to be back 12 p.m. tomorrow for another 9-hour stream. But that is it for myself, and that is it for your show for tonight. Again, Naomi, Alexei, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well done.
You're welcome.
Thank
Pleasure.
you. And that is good night from me, and I will see you very soon. Thank you.